Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh boy! Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Well done, young man! Welcome back to the spotlight, young man!
Mark, they can't pitch. They can't hit. What is with, I mean, come on.
I'm sick of it, man. I really am.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Ladies and gentlemen,
Game plan looks
we
like.
got him.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, you can't get fooled again.
Good riddance.
I'm going to make him an offer again.
How about a beer?
Timberwolves superfan KFAN Stan Barrero.
We're not going home yet, baby! Just...
He's dead. Well, he's dead.
It was a nice run.
And listen to Cooley.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
Objects in your mirror may be closer than they appear.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
And the one begins in 5, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 2. 1. Greetings, good afternoon, ack-ack-a-dack. Ack-ack-a-dack, dack-dack-a-ack. Halloween, I'm going as Donald Trump. It didn't go over very well at the iHeartRadio Halloween potluck costume party today. I decided instead of going with a visual costume, I would go with an audio one. I didn't find a problem with it. A lot of people like Halloween potluck parties. I do as well. I could have driven a garbage truck here or worn a McDonald's apron, but I didn't. I came as myself. So it didn't go over very well. I thought that would get me into the potluck Halloween party, but it did not. And I also forgot to bring food. Remember I said I forgot my lunch yesterday? I didn't. I had put it in the refrigerator. I'd forgot that I put it in the refrigerator. So within 90 minutes of arriving at the radio station and going to try to eat lunch, I couldn't even remember where I put my lunch. I'm struggling.
It's a hard place to find it, too. It's not like you would expect it to be in the refrigerator of all places.
Well, that's it. Well, because normally I don't use the refrigerator because, because I have a lunch pail that is one of those soft-sided ones that's insulated. And so I have freezy packs in there. So I don't need a refrigerator.
I do too, but I still put it in the refrigerator.
Oh, okay. That's
just because people care.
Do you do both?
Yeah. So it keeps it cool on the drive in.
Right.
But I think I'm here longer than you are. So I think having it in the refrigerator.
When do you think I pack my lunch? I go golf at 6:30 in the morning. I pack my lunch at 6 a.m. My lunch has been packed for So you are here longer than I am.
Yeah.
But I still have my lunch pack much sooner. I've never had a problem with it. It stays ice cold. I mean, that's okay if you do it that way. But so normally I don't. But because my refrigerator was on the fritz and had to get a new one, I haven't had any freezy packs. So what I've been doing is bringing lunches in that don't need to be cold, though I did have a Diet Coke in there and thought, hey, now I'll go ahead and put the freezy pack in the refrigerator and that Diet Coke will get cold.
Yeah.
Then I'm going, where did I put my lunch pail? Like, remember yesterday? I can't remember. I think I left it on the roof of the car. It was in the refrigerator the other time. In a 90-minute time frame from the time I walked in at 11:30 till it was lunchtime, I couldn't remember having done that. I got a lot of issues. I'm having cognitive decline. I really am. They think Biden was having trouble. How about me? I also think, Tennessee, that I'm getting chumped. And I need for you to help me with this. I've never, that I can remember, I guess I've bought tickets from broker. You know what you have? You have like Ticketmaster, SeatGeek. Who else is there?
Ticket King.
I
mean, there's hundreds.
Hundreds? And so I talked yesterday about I'm expected as a parent to go to a University of Nebraska football game sometime while my son is a student there. And I'm going to have to do the same for the Ohio State University. I didn't really feel a need to go. I don't like going to games to begin with, as you know. So I had not really wanted to. But my wife has really been wanting to go.
Sure.
And everybody I talk to, if you say, so you got kids? Yeah. How old are they? Well, they're college kids. Oh, where do they go? Well, one's going to Lincoln, one's going to Columbus. Been to a game there yet? Everybody asks the first thing, been to a game there yet? No, am I supposed to? But apparently that's the rule, that if you have a child that goes to a university that has a football program, you're supposed to go to the game. I didn't know that was a rule, so I finally decided, well, I better do it. Especially my wife really has wanted to go. So we narrowed it down to either this Saturday, 2:30 start against UCLA, or wait until the 23rd against Wisconsin, 23rd of November. And we talked about the different highs and lows of each game. There was supposed to be steady rain this coming Saturday. Did I want to stand in the rain in 60-degree weather? Not sure I want to do that. My wife wasn't sure she wanted to do that. But then if you wait until the November 23rd game, as a couple of people pointed out to me, people that I text and talk with more than you would know, at that time of the year, you can always get winter advisories. And it's if you try to drive across Iowa or Nebraska in a snowstorm, good luck. Sometimes they just close the roads. So what if there's a snowstorm and we can't get there or can't leave? Or what if, I would think, would you think more Wisconsin fans will travel to Lincoln than UCLA fans will travel to Lincoln?
Sure.
I would think so. So finding tickets, remember, they've had over 400 consecutive sellouts. So we decided to go. I looked at the weather. I said, well, the weather changes anyways. Now it says, well, it won't start raining until about 4 o'clock. Before it was supposed to be raining all day. So we decided we're going this Saturday, come heck or high water. We talk to Deuce. We get him on the phone. We're doing the speakerphone thing. Let's look for tickets, right?
Yeah.
SeatGeek is the official ticket partner of the University of Nebraska, right?
Okay.
So there are some seats available. We're looking for 3, and we're looking for them. Various prices, $67. I don't even think you can see the field from those. They showed like where the seats are. It's like, I think it's obstructed view. I don't even know if you can see the field from the 67s. Then they had some 96s and 128. There were some that were going for almost $300, right?
You've got to be kidding me.
These prices are not set by SeatGeek. They're set by the person that owns the tickets, right? And says, this is what I want for them. You either pay for it or you don't, correct? That's what I've been told. It's not SeatGeek doesn't set those ticket prices. It's the person that's selling the tickets.
Based off the demand, yeah.
Based off of demand. So we decided, we found...
SeatGeek will give you the nice fee at the end of it.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So that was the whole thing I was going to get to. But that's okay. You didn't know. So we find some seats. Well, I'll just get to the punchline. I was going to set it up to get to the end of the... Am I getting chumped for $50 per ticket? That's what it said the fee was.
You've got to be kidding me.
$50 per ticket. Am I getting taken? Is this a legitimate
We're all
site?
getting taken.
Is this really SeatGeek? Is it really $50 on a $128 ticket? Because each ticket was $128, which I thought was a bit over the top anyways. But I liked them because they were in a spot where it looked like the concourse where people go down, where you leave from where you're watching the game, and then you go down to the concourse to go to the restroom or go to go get concessions, right? That I'm above that, so I don't have to have anybody standing in front of me. You see what I'm saying? I've got the seats right in front of the rail that goes down to the concourse. $50. The 3 tickets cost over $500 for a game between two mediocre college football teams that are going nowhere. Can they really
get away?
Just
wait till you do parking and concessions and
$50. Is that fee right, or like I say, did I get taken?
$50 total for the 3 or each?
No, 50 each.
No, I wouldn't. You're getting taken, but you're always getting taken. Like there's just it's not just SeatGeek. All the companies do it, and they all take you to the woodshed on every single fee, and it's ridiculous.
How did they get away
I thought
with
recently we had the government doing something about that. I thought they had enacted a law to try to reduce those fees. How did
they get away with that? I mean, I know they got to eat too, right? I mean, SeatGeek's got to make money. They can't just give you the tickets for free. Everybody wants something for free. But when I saw $50, I went, come on. I mean, that's almost half as much as the ticket. The tickets were $128, so it wasn't quite half. But it's more than a third. Yeah. It was outrageous. But now I'm stuck. I have to go. There's no way around it. Then when you add hotel, and like you say, concessions, parking, I would have been better off taking a vacation with Rosen at Turks and Caicos. I probably would have got away for less money there.
You should have asked Abbott for a press pass is what you should have asked.
Well, there's that. What a world. Well, let's go to break. We have plenty of controversial topics to get to. But on the other side of the break, or before the other side of the break, Tennessee has a keyword for us.
Yeah, the fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword cash at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is cash. Enter now at KFAN.com. Inflation Vacation is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head over to KFAN.com. Inflation Vacation is powered by 2 men in a junk truck.
Couple 13-14 pass. It's time now for Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. Shockingly affordable. But it tend to be as we peek at the purple. I think for me, it's, and we'll know more later. I don't think we'll know any more today. We're assuming Hawkinson will play. I think that's almost.
Yeah, KFC was talking the other day as if he's playing.
Okay, so I would think Hawkinson's going to play. We're hopeful Blake Cashman will play. He's missed a couple of games with turf toe, but it seems by just reading the tea leaves that he'll probably play. We're still not sure about Cam Robinson. Now, I said yesterday, I kind of did the okay when KOC, we aired part of his weekly Wednesday news conference on this radio station during the Grum, where he said, well, we're going to see if he catches on with the playbook and does this and does that. And I mean, I could be wrong, but I would expect him to play. I was wrong on Aaron Jones. I thought Aaron Jones would sit out for sure. I thought when they went and traded for Cam, I thought, well, that's because if Jones is out, he's not going to play. He's going to have to wait. But Aaron Jones played, so I'm not suggesting that I've nailed this one. But I think Cam Robinson's going to play. Have we heard anything on that?
Here's what KOC had to say about getting Cam Robinson acclimated.
Okay.
We've got great communicators up there on the offensive line from Garrett on out that can help him. And really when you get into it in certain phases of your offense, first and second down, there might be some nuances to the run game or play action protections here and there. But the tackle spot is one where, on those weighty downs and drop back pass and those things.
Those things. Got cut off there.
He was just about to give us the
meat
of it, and we missed it. I think maybe he was about to say those really don't change much. I mean, when it's 3rd and 12, back to pass, and the guy's trying to have a bull rush you on the left side, going to do his patented John Randall spin move, you just have to block him. There's not really much more to it. You have to stop him from getting to the quarterback. So, Timmy, that's going to be my guesses. I'm going to guess all 3 play this Sunday. How do you?
Here's what he had to say about Blake Cashman's recovery.
Okay.
Blake will do. He will do basically a full allotment of work on the side field today, just to make sure he feels ready to roll moving into the week of practice. If for whatever reason it might be smart to hold him for this week, I think we can have some pretty good understanding after today about where Blake's at. He's done everything we've asked him to do, and I'm still really hopeful we'll have him Sunday night.
And what does he say about Hawkinson?
I don't have that soundbite in there.
All
right.
My guess is all 3 play. Your thoughts? What do you
Hawkinson's
think?
playing.
Okay.
I think that's a definite.
Okay.
Blake, the way he was wording that for the first 20 seconds of that soundbite, I'm like,
Okay.
But then at the end when he said, I'm hopeful he'll play Sunday.
All right.
Usually you don't say that unless you think he's got a good shot at playing.
Or you're trying to throw the other team off.
Yeah, I don't think KOC's that kind of guy.
No.
Because even right now, the talk with the Vikings offense over the last week, especially now that you don't have Darisaw, is we need to have a shorter passing game.
Right.
And the KOC's been very honest about it. He was asked about it yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, that's like very anti most head coaches. Like typically they would just spring that on you on Sunday, so the other team doesn't see it coming, where he's basically telling them, yeah, we don't want Sam Darnold to hold on to the ball as much, so we might have to do some more quick throws by near the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
I think KOC's pretty honest.
And do you think Robinson plays?
Yeah, I don't think
it's just left tackle.
I mean, he's been playing all year. It's not like physically he needs to catch up. It's just more mental stuff. And to your point, I would think for a left tackle, it's mostly just, hey, that guy's across from you. You got to block him.
Yeah.
I know it's more complicated than that, and they're doing stunts and twists and all that kind of stuff.
But as you and I have talked about, football really just comes down to when you break it down to the brass tacks, it's blocking, tackling, running, throwing, catching, kicking. That's really what it all amounts to. Our Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. Dependable and honest. They'll provide you with an affordable estimate before starting any repair. Visit affordable-electric.com. Shockingly affordable. I'm getting a number of people that are weighing in on this. I didn't realize it was this controversial, the ticket fees when you purchase tickets for sporting events. I suppose it's the same for concerts. This one says, I'll just read a handful of them that have come in on the Brad, Sean, Brian, KFAN text line. TickPick is the way to go. No fees included, just price of ticket and sales tax. Well, how does TickPick make any money then? I don't believe it. How does TickPick make money if there are no fees?
TickPick was a thing.
No fees, no sales tax. I don't believe it. I think, but maybe it's true. I certainly don't want to besmirch TickPick until I find out more, but that seems odd to me. Here's one that says, by the way, they weren't kidding when they said it might snow today. It's, and tell me the game is played outdoors, but even I wouldn't play right now. Would you?
No, it's snowing sideways.
It's a bit much.
Is it sticking out there? That's the question, because I can't see that.
It's starting to stick a little bit, but I think it will disappear rather soon. Common, I went to the University of Alabama. You know what they call Alabama, Tennessee? The Crimson Tide. You know what they call me? Deacon Blues. I went to the University of Alabama. Don't even get me started with ticket fees. The Tide played at Wisconsin earlier this year, and I paid over. Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? You want to hold on to your hat, batten down the hatches, buckle your seatbelts, and elevate your scrotum? I paid over $200 in fees for 2 tickets.
You've got to be kidding me.
That can't be possible. Here's another. Comment, did that put a dent in your $65,000 checking balance? I didn't know I made that public. That's embarrassing. Did I tell you, Tennessee, my checking account's down to $65,000? Here are a number of people that are saying the same thing. TickPick's the best. No fees. Use TickPick. No fees. This one says, try StubHub. I think it's less. Here's one. Common, I purchased 6 tickets to a country and western concert last summer. It was over $100 per ticket in fees.
You've got to be kidding me.
He said that's a Ticketmaster, is what he said, is who he went through. You know, and I'm not blind to this. I knew there had been some controversy on the fees, but I just never experienced. You know, when you don't experience something firsthand, you don't worry so much about it, right? I don't go to events. I don't buy many tickets. And when I do, I generally, you know, I go to the Dakota. I buy tickets from the Dakota. I don't think that's through Ticketmaster, right? I'm buying it directly from their box office. So if they put a fee on that, it's already included in the ticket price, so I guess I don't notice. This one says, I went to the Gophers last weekend. It was $24, but that was plenty, not with any more. Here's another. Not only those ticket brokers charge the buyers a fee, but they charge the sellers a fee as well.
You've got to be kidding me.
At least they used to. So again, he said they used to. Same thing last week. $175 T-Wolves ticket, $75 seat feel alone, or whatever he meant to say. Yeah, I guess it's, you know what it is, Tennessee? That's the going rate. If you don't want to go, there's plenty more people that will pay that, right?
Yeah, it's just bonkers. It's crazy.
It's like, I remember our radio, I've recanted this tale before. Back when 100.3 for a while was a crackpot conservative station. Before that, it was a music station. It was playing like classic rock or something like that, right? And we were
smooth jazz.
Yeah, there was smooth jazz as well. And before smooth jazz, I think it was classic rock. This was back in the mid-'90s, right? And we had this promotion where we were giving away like $100 a day or $100 an hour. Right? We were making a big deal about it. So one of the competitors in town, now I won't mention any KQRS names, but they came out, the guy goes, $100? We're giving away $1,000, and there's plenty more where that came from. That was their promo. There's plenty more where that came from. Of course, who's on top now, Tennessee? 100.3 The Fan. And you know what? We try to put $1,000 in your hand every single hour from like 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. So we'll do it again next hour as well. Let's take a break, come back. A gentleman's sweep. Dodgers beat the Yankees in another classic game. And I think some of the things that happened last night, Tennessee, should be lessons to be learned by the local 9, regardless of who ends up owning the team, whether the Polats can't get it sold. Remember, they have an intent to explore selling the club. But we'll talk about that other side of the break. Common Man program here in The Fan. Metallica.
Let your voice be heard. Tune in to Vikings Fan Line following every Vikings game, presented by Verizon. Listen in right here on KFAN and anywhere on the free iHeartRadio app.
I don't know what the meteorological definition of a blizzard is, but that's what it looks like out there to me right now. Now I get it. Inside these two, the 1550 and 1600 of buildings, it's almost like a canyon in there. You know what I'm saying? So you can see where the wind could, it's like a Calcutta in there. It comes in, goes up, down, lakefront influence, and out. So sometimes it's swirling more than it would be out on the open prairie. But man, it's coming down. So the winter weather advisory, did you have what you said that was, or winter weather? What did you call it in that last forecast?
It's a winter weather advisory until 4 o'clock.
It's winter weather. I don't think there's any question about that. Someone here's to clear up the tick pick thing. This text messenger from the 651 on our Brad, Sean, Brian, KFAN text line at 64686 says, Tick pick still charges fees. They just include the fees in the cost of the tickets from the get-go, which means there's no sticker shock at checkout. So they still have high fees. It's just easier to shop because they have a better sense of the actual price. That's why when you search TickPick, the prices seem higher. They aren't actually higher. It's just all the costs are baked in. Well, I decided, again, my wife is on this. There's Facebook pages for every organization in the world, right? Including Nebraska Student Family Facebook or something, where people that have, parents that have students at the University of Nebraska can commiserate and have back and forth conversations about what it's like to have your child, issues that might arise. Just what it's your kid's going for 4 years, and so it's nice to have somebody else that is going through the same experience you are. And my wife saw horror stories about people trying to buy tickets and then getting ripped off by people, right? It's not a legitimate site. And when you go to the University of Nebraska website, it says that their official ticket broker person is SeatGeek. So that's why I said, well, that seems safe. What I probably should have done, though, you are taking a chance when you're out of state. Because generally what I do tend to be is I just find when I want to go to a sporting event, I find a dimly lit parking lot somewhere, just park the car and then go inside. And then more times than not, I'll come out in the morning. Now, the driver's side window will be shattered and I have to make an insurance claim, but there'll generally be a couple of tickets on my dashboard. So I could have taken my chances going to Lincoln, hoping somebody would break into my car. But then what if they just leave two and Deuce doesn't have one, right? Or my wife doesn't. Of course, I could let my wife and Deuce go into the game and I could just sit in the parking lot and listen to the game on the old radio. But speaking of Deuce, he'll join us at 2:30 along with Mark Rosen. It will be time for Spread Swing. World Series ended in a gentleman's sweep last night, Tennessee, where that's when we learned yesterday. Somebody, I think I told you, Gumshoe guy called it a gentleman's sweep. I'd never heard that before. But the definition is when one team wins 4-1. The Dodgers had fallen behind the Yankees 5-0 going into the fifth inning. Of the 234 teams in World Series history that trailed by 5 runs at any time during a game, LA is only the 7th team to come back and win that game out of 234. It's an eye-opening statistic, and the game was handed to. What Dark used to say that the skipper told him, TK told him, if you can pitch and play defense, you give yourself a chance to win the ball game. Well, they were pitching last night. Ace Garrett Cole was motoring right along. He was having no trouble. Matter of fact, going into the fifth inning, he had a no going, and then there was a single to start. The first hit off of Cole came in the top of the fifth inning was a single. And this was a 5-0 lead. This is where in the first inning, Aaron Judge finally got on track. He hits a 2-run home run. It's followed by, was it Volpe? How do we say his name? Did we learn?
You said Volpe.
Volpe. I think Volpe then hit a home run, back-to-back home runs. And they eventually pushed the score to 5-0. So a single, and then back-to-back, 2 errors, and then just a blunder in the field. Judge gets a fly ball hit to him, instead of not a can of corn, but kind of one of those line drive ones. Hits him right in the glove, and he drops it. Routine. Yeah. So now there's running on first and second. Then the shortstop, Volpe, who was a hero the night before, he gets a ground ball, and he tries to hurry it to third. And, the runner on second did get a nice jump. But he threw the ball kind of into the dirt, and the third baseman couldn't hang on to it. Now bases loaded, nobody out. Right? Then, suddenly there's a Cole bears down. I think it's back-to-back strikeouts. He strikes out 2 Dodgers. So now they go from bases loaded, nobody out, to bases loaded, 2 outs, and a dribbler, weak kind of ground ball to first base. First baseman claims late after the game when they asked him about it, well, I didn't want it to squirt by me. It was kind of one of those odd ones. So I don't know what he did, but he kind of stood back and waited for it to come to him. Meanwhile, Cole starts heading toward first base, but then he just stops dead in his tracks and doesn't cover first base. So now, whoever hit was it Soto? Who hit the ground ball? Whoever hit it, or was it Stanton? I don't recall. Whoever hit the ground ball, then all of a sudden goes, oh, wait, I got a chance to make it. So he should have been running fast anyways, but you could tell he picked up his speed. He beats him to first base. A run comes in, and then I'm assuming at this point there's back-to-back hits. Was it a double and a single that drive in all the runs and we're tied? And I'm wondering if Cole at that point was kind of shook.
Sure.
Because I think he was rattled is what happened.
What else can he do up until that point?
And because, and he was trying to literally and figuratively point the finger at the first baseman, because did you see the highlight where he went, well, he kind of pointed at first base like, well, why didn't you just run to first base? And if I'm the first baseman, I said, why didn't you cover first base? Because either way, they should have had him out.
It's like they were both expecting the other to do it.
That's exactly what it was.
But you should never assume that.
And that's when the floodgates opened up. And that's where we talked about it yesterday with Rosen. Rosen seemed to be pretty convinced with Garrett Cole on the mound, your ace of the staff. And I'd said to him, his record is 2-4 in clinching games, right? And he pitched really well up until then. And that's why you give him the big bucks, Tenneby. That's why he is on your pitching staff, is because here's a guy that is supposed to be able to, when you give him the ball in postseason play, particularly in World Series, when your back's against the wall, it's gut check time, guys are laying it on the line, they're in the training room, it's bandwagon, that whole thing. You're supposed to come through with a big-time performance. And he did until the play at first base when, I think you summed it up exactly. The first baseman thought Cole was going to be there at the bag to get it, and I think Cole thought he would be able to make the play on his own. Because at that point, that's where I think Garrett got rattled, or just maybe give credit to the hitters. The next two guys up, I don't recall who they were, back-to-back hits. One was a double, and suddenly the game is tied. And so Cole was doing what he was supposed to do, especially when the base is loaded, he strikes out two hitters in a row. That's why he's considered one of the best pitchers in baseball, and that's why you give him whatever that outrageous is, $300 million or whatever over 5, 6, 8 years, whatever that is. That's why you give him that kind of money. But at the end, he gave up the two hits.
Hard to have to give up 6 outs in an inning.
Well, that's it. That's exactly right. And then New York actually got the lead back. They got it to 6-5. But then a couple of sacrifice flies, just one of the more routine plays in all of baseball.
You saw that snow just crashing into the window?
Did somebody throw a snowball up there? Let me look. That'd be a hell of a throw because we're like 5 stories up. Yeah, I saw it come crashing into the window too.
Maybe it's just falling from the roof or something.
I think that's what it might have been.
Yeah.
So, and they just do routine sacrifice flies, and suddenly end a game, and then Yankees still had a chance. Obviously, they had further at bats, and they went 1-2-3 quietly into the night in New York City last night. And so, series is over. Dodgers win. Both teams spending enormous amounts of money. Tend to be. I saw the number with the Dodgers. What they spent. Now, these are not just on the salary this year, obviously. It's not just this year's payroll, but what they paid in contracts during the off season when they combine all the years. And I'll find this number for you, Tenneby, because this is the one that would give the Pollad pocket protectors all the ammunition they'd want. You see, well, it's just unfair because they've got all the money. And I get that, but that is just the way the game is played. It's the games people play now every night and any day now. And here's the number they spend. Let me I'll have to dial through the story a little bit. Here, Ohtani, the Dodgers record-setting $700 million signing. But it goes on to say here that I thought it was in this story. Maybe it's not. L.A. went on an unprecedented $1.25 billion spending spree last offseason on deals with Ohtani, Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, James Paxton, outfielder, is it Teoscar Hernandez? Much of the money was future obligations that raised the Dodgers' deferred compensation. This is owed from 2028 through 2044. Think about that. This is how much deferred compensation. $915.5 million. That's how, but that's when you really want to win a World Series. And you could say they're buying one. Yeah, I guess. But that buying the World Series hasn't worked for either of those teams in quite some time, or any other team from a larger market. And that was always one of the comebacks in the Pull That Pocket Protect. Rosen used to go it all the time. Yankees, you see the money they spend. How many World Series have they won lately? You know, their last time, I think, was in 2009. And it's a valid point, but I think as you and I have said, well, but at least they're always in the running, right? And they're still making money. It's not as if these teams are losing any money.
Well, and the teams that are still winning the whole thing are usually teams that are spending money
that's correct.
So the Yankees didn't win this year, but they lost to the Dodgers, who, let's face it, as you just mentioned, that payroll that they're going off of this year is not really a realistic payroll because they just, especially on Ohtani, they deferred all the money to down the road.
And then, if that wasn't enough, faced with injuries, the Dodgers acquired Flaherty, Edman, and reliever Michael Kopech ahead of the trade deadline. The additions boosted the payroll to $266 million. Third behind the Mets and the Yankees, plus a projected $43 million luxury tax. And they're owned by, and I don't know if there's one singular person. The Dodgers were purchased in 2012 by the Guggenheim Baseball Management, whatever that is. You know, it's some conglomerate. I don't know if it's sort of like a Glenn Taylor thing with his limited partners, his unlimiteds. But the Guggenheim Baseball Management bought the team in 2012, and they got their payoff. And it's, you know, other teams that have spent much less money have won World Series titles. It can be done, but it's your margin for error is much less, as we saw with the Twins. You know, you had a $130 million payroll. Remember, it would be $160 the year before. We know the story, dropped to $130. And they were in the running there for a while. I mean, was it middle of August or late August, early September? We had like a 95% chance of advancing to postseason play. It was almost like a slam dunk. It was almost like a given, right? And then we went on that where we won 12. We went 12 and 27, I think, over the last 39 ball games. It's something like that. I don't have the exact one-loss record in front of us. And it was because, let's face it, the talent that we have on the club with the Twins, there's a lot of good players on the team. There are a lot of talented kids on that club. I mean, Lopez is a fine pitcher now, you know, and Joe Ryan got hurt, but you know he's a talented kid. Ober far exceeded expectations that I ever saw coming from what he had done earlier for us, and we know the talent that the shortstop has, Correa, but you know I think that plantar fasciitis thing is something that there's speculation, and I don't know if this has ever been documented by a medical expert, but a lot of people, I think, feel that because, he's got that surgically repaired ankle, isn't it? Doesn't he have like bolts like Frankenstein in his ankle? Is that creating extra stress or is it
makes sense.
Is it contributing to his plantar fasciitis? And he barely plays. I mean, and you're spending a lot of money on him. We know the trials and tribulations of Byron Buxton when he is completely healthy, which is rare. But when he is, and he's playing at his best, he's a talented kid. He's got a lot of talent. And we have other guys on the club that are good, right? You've got, the three guys that we're expecting a lot from over the next few years, Miranda, Wallner, and who's the other? My memory's bad. You have Wallner, Miranda,
Julian. I don't know if you're thinking about Royce Lewis.
Yeah, and Lewis, and then there's another. There's a third player, but we're expecting a lot from these players, and they have their ups and downs, and they just don't have that consistency, and they're very young players. So maybe they can, we need to be consistent. The fans need to be consistent. It goes both ways. If they can reach their potential and play, they play more often like they do when they're playing well than when they're in their little slumps or whatever the case may be. Maybe we'll have a nice nucleus here, but I'm not even convinced we have a nice nucleus. And our bullpen, which was supposed to be the strength of the ball club, really wasn't. And we didn't go out and you and I have talked, but I certainly wouldn't expect the Pohlads to go out and have a $230 million payroll, $250 million. Certainly not year after year after year, but every once in a while when you think you've got, this is pretty good right here. I think it would have been nice to buttress that pitching staff going into this season and maybe grab a quality bat that we can depend on, not crossing our fingers and going, I hope Miranda and Wallner are good this year. Let's hope Julian continues where he was, because we were doing a lot of that on a wing and a prayer. And now did I see Kirilloff is retiring? Is that what I saw?
Yes.
And he was another player who, you'll have to remind me, Tenneby, he was considered...
He's considered one of the best prospects in the organization.
Exactly. And it never really... he had his moments, right? But he never got to that level that everyone... And is our other guy, Kepler? Now, and where is he at? Again, there's another guy, I think, that was also highly regarded, was expected to be a mainstay that... and that goes back to a lot of the ball guys in town, that their favorite sport. They kept selling this hope to us that these guys are going to be really, our organization can spot talent. We develop talent. We're loaded. We have a deep and talented lineup. If you remember that at the beginning of the season, it was written in several places, Fish Wrap West and others, that, hey, I know there are those of you out there that don't think, letting Sonny Gray go and not really replacing him with anybody that has a resume that's even close to that. Don't you despair, because guess what? We got an everyday lineup that's deep and talented, and it will carry this team. It has the potential to carry this team through. We can outslug people. We can just outscore people if the pitching isn't there. It didn't work. Now, maybe earlier in the year, I don't remember every score of every game. It was going well there for a while. We know that. We were motoring right along. Of course, we won like about 20 games against the White Sox. That didn't help. That didn't hurt our cause, right? You pulled we did that before you did that for us. You pulled out those White Sox games a couple of times, and all of a sudden, I think we were like almost a sub 500 team at one point in the year. So again, that's why I've always, it's sort of like a lot of the ball guys in town leading into and it's not just in baseball. It happens with all the teams in town. We get these flowery, optimistic prognostications about what our team is going to do. And in a lot of cases, I don't blame some of the local media. I wish they would just sometimes, they'd be a bit more cynical and go, well, yeah, what do you expect the brain trust, the front offices, and the ownership groups of all the team to say? You expect them to go, hey, you might want to report this. We're going to be awful this year because we just know we don't have anything. You're always going to try to sell it as, hey.
You want to sell tickets.
Yeah, you want to sell tickets and sell hope. And look, this is what it is. And that's why I'm always a bit leery of getting that excited. But then what happens, Tenneby? You called them the Skatriots. I bought it. And Rosen tells us we're going to do this. I bought it. And I blame you guys for ruining my summers, my falls, my springs, and my winters. You guys sell me hope. Though the Wild hope is pretty good right now, and we think the Wolves look pretty solid, and the Vikings at 5-2 with a big one on Sunday, Tenneby. Been flexed, it's so big. It's the Colts game. We'll talk about all of those teams and more. Gophers have they're all big at this point of the season. We'll talk about that as well. But as we go to break, Tenneby's got a tease for the 5-3-4 segment. That's next.
A former one of us was roaring last night.